Hey everyone, welcome to the Wolf Game Theory. I'm here with Full Meta, joining us on the team today and going forward. So I'm glad to be back. Just a little note to say we're here just having some speculation and some fun around NFT game, Wolf Game, and never take it as financial advice. So, Full Meta, it's great to have you on with me. Looking forward to doing this maybe at least once a week and get on some cool guests and just have a bit of fun. Thanks for joining.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm happy to be here. It's good to see you. Last time I saw you, I was in Ireland, so good to see you again, and happy to be on the show.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I had such a good time. It was great to meet someone from Wolf Game in person and catch up, have a few beers, and it was a lot of fun showing you around. I'm sure I didn't stop talking as normal. But yeah, so we'll go shoot off here and we'll run through some tweets. It's been a long time since we've looked at Wolf Game news here on the show, but obviously quarter four is coming up, so it's time to get some speculation going. We'll touch on Alpha Game later, and also talk a bit about some wool and some other stuff that's going on in the community. But there has been a bit of news. I'll skip over the blockchain game night for the moment, but we do have. We just closed up the latest wool competition, wool event 4, where for every sheep or wolf, you had to stake a corresponding amount of wool, and then you would get that amount doubled, which in liquid wool, which is kind of crazy. So it makes me think that there's a lot of wool sinks going to come in the full game, a lot of ways to spend and burn wool. But what do you think?
Yeah, I think that there's going to be a lot of wool sinks, obviously, but I think this specific wool event is very rare. I don't think that the shepherd is going to provide opportunities like this to get liquid wool in the future. So I think everyone who took advantage of this took advantage of a rare opportunity, because we're not going to be getting opportunities, just be getting back double the amount of wool that we put in, or really any liquid wool rewards. One of Shep's tweets, said how rare it is right after the event started. So
Yeah,
um, there's a great opportunity, and the wool sinks will be huge. We have no idea what they're going to be, but we know there's going to be a lot of them.
yeah, yeah. And I think especially out the gate, um, possibly for people to get ahead in terms of maybe building structures. I know if we scroll down here, we're going to see a few tweets about structures, but and we can just segue into talking about structures. But I think they're going to be a massive sink here. I think that you're going to want to upgrade to reduce your risk. I think then there's going to be other options for different buildings. I know in our weekly spaces we were speaking about this, but I think that the better the barn, the more secure it is, and the bigger it is, maybe the more people can fit in it, but maybe the higher the tax to use it. So, these are all things we kind of have to think about. But I believe that, yeah, it's going to be rare because I think the way the game will play won't necessarily be do this and get that. It will be do this list of things and kind of find your way through it. Whether that might mean somebody wants to play the game and go and be a collector and go and collecting resources. Some people might just want to breed their animals, and that might mean that they have to buy resources in order to breed them, through wool or these sorts of things. So it's going to be a really interesting economy. See what people corner, and yeah, I'm excited to see some of the how the trading of resources is going to work and how far you'll have to kind of bring them. I know we touched on that on the spaces as well, but yeah, what do you think about the structures and that sort of thing?
I think it's going to be an interesting dynamic. It just makes things a little bit more complex. You're not just going to be able to put your sheep in a barn and breed them. Like there's a lot of dynamics to it. There's certain levels of risk. You can put it in the barn that can be blown away for a lot less wool. than a barn that is going to be super secure. It's safe from bombs. It's I don't. It's there's some of them that have multiple levels. Maybe that will have utility. But at the end of the day, it's causing multiple levels of risk and complexity that's going to contribute to this overall economy, to make it more stable. It's not as simple as like stake sheep, get another sheep back. There's decisions you got to make. There's risk. There's EV you've got to calculate and see where the best place is to put your sheep for your wool. And same thing with the wolves. The wolves are going to have choices too. Where are they going to be spending their energy to blow down a barn or throw a bomb at a barn? Or do they know where the sheep are going to be? I mean, we see the wolf, saw a hole open in one of the barns and there's no sheep. So, there's risk. It seems to be there's at least some risk for wolves too. Because they could go,
using their energy or
Yeah.
items and then no reward for it. Very true. Something that I was just thinking about there will be really. I know for me, I think I want to take a very risk-on approach when it comes to the game. So I want to try and kind of play and take risks, but very calculated. And maybe if there's ways I can get help from friends to do certain things, I might go very risky in the way that I play it. But we'll have to see. Something that I was thinking we could do on the show is maybe talk about that as it goes on, the kind of different plays, the more riskier plays versus the more passive plays. When I think the ultimate passive play is probably accumulation of wool pouches. But I think I'd love to progress that on and maybe have this is a bag for somebody who wants to go very risky and very player heavy and time consuming, while this is I can just sit back and watch things grow. And maybe the breeding is a bit of more of a passive play, but no matter what way, you're always playing a game, aren't you? Even if it's just at a higher level with more assets or a smaller level, it's still just a game and a different approach you're taking to it.
Yeah, it's curious. I'm curious to know what the main objective of the game is going to be. Like what is going to be? There's going to be a lot of different pieces. We see resources, we see breeding. There's land tax, there's voting, there's all these different pieces. But what is like the main objective of Wolf Game? Like, is it going to be like the Wolf Game Classic, that the original concept idea game that came out last November, and is it going to be like expanded off of that? So it's still going to be, you're trying to get wolves by in the classic, it was, put wool in, get a sheep, maybe get a wolf, maybe don't get anything. And maybe it's going to be like that, but expanded tenfold.
Yeah.
There's just more complexity to it.
Absolutely. I completely agree. It is, if it makes sense, I can see something forming in my mind that I find very hard to articulate into words, but it is a kind of ecosystem where things feed into each other. And I think the bit that I'm missing to be able to explain it is probably whatever Community Zero is. Because that's just a real question mark, I think, to how everything works. But it's certainly going to be interesting. There was this nice little tweet here before we move on from the chef, but collect as your heart's desire until you grow tired, yet heed caution. Greed leads to grave risk, and the wolves may whisk up and away your resources. Collect too long, headstrong sheep, and risk going empty trotted. So again, I think that's just kind of what we were talking about there, and it sums it up nicely. So I think we'll move on to Alpha Game now and have a bit of a chat. I'll give a rundown of the board. We have Crypto Corey starting off in the lead here, his first team. They've been stacking up them forts every single move, followed in by G Money at 10 million behind on score, but we're seeing him with a hefty amount more, almost double in fortifications, and I know that G Money has had an injection of wool onto his team recently, which is going to boost up that cooldown time. Next we have AJV, Gary V's little bro, and he's been managing that Alpha Wolf, but unfortunately I think he's getting punished for not using some of those moves in the middle time there, and he has been taking a battering from the bottom of the board and from the top in sometimes. But I know Wandsworth seems to really have it in for him. But he's down to one fortification, and once that gets to zero, all hell breaks loose. You're talking 3% every hit, and people are just going to want to hit him to get. Anybody underneath is going to want to hit him to get on top, apart from maybe Johnny Moe coming in next. J-Mo, absolute gentleman, and he is going to be coming into third place soon, I think. And he has
Absolutely.
68 fortifications. He has a hefty amount more wool than AJ, so it means he's going to be having higher actions, but he's coming in with around the same amount as sheep and wolves. Then we have Wongsworth, the silent killer. He's been really, really wading his way through the game with not much controversy, followed in by real Crypto Corey, who's actually made a bit of a comeback with his second team, because they were down a little bit lower the board since the last time we were kind of looking at this. Then Lord Fen, and this is where it kind of breaks the pack. There's like a middle group in the kind of 15 to 20, and then there's 20 up, and then under 10 here, it's kind of all up for grabs. You have the first two, the NA and Malcode there, they've stacked a few forts, kind of holding each other off bay, I think. But once it comes off, you're talking 0 forts here, and people are just going to town on each other. Everyone's in and around that 4 or 5 million. But I suppose when you're so low, you're not producing as much. It surprises me that Panther is so low on the board, considering what's staked on his team, and he's not climbing up that quickly. But if we go down to the moves here, there has been an absolute out and out attack on Crypto Corey over the last while. He has been just getting pummeled, and it's certainly shaping up for an exciting alpha game. What do you think?
Yeah, things are getting really shaky right now. The different positions, the positions are going to be way different here in a couple weeks. I mean, you see what's being moved around. You see how people can just sink. Like Panther just going all the way down. Like once you get to a certain point and your fortifications are gone, people can just start to lower you, and you just start sinking. Like you're really heavy at the top, and you can just fall so quickly. And so AJ with that one fort, I mean, he's in a very dangerous position. He could sink so quickly. And Crypto Corey, he's still got 44 forts, but we're looking at potentially 3 weeks. I'm viewing the potential end date around the 16th spaces, the November 16th spaces. That's a lot of time to try to hold first, even with 44 forts. So, he's in a dangerous position as well. I would say even G Money is in a dangerous position. We've got the 79 forts. That's great. But anybody at the top is just a target. And people at the bottom, they've got nothing to lose.
And that very good point.
Really,
yeah,
it's a very interesting next. It's going to be a very interesting next couple weeks to see what happens and how things shift around, because you also have to consider people at the top have a lot to lose. If they're going down to the bottom, their estimated pouch is just dropping dramatically. So we'll see. It's going to be interesting. I think there's going to be people that are very, very upset who are on the top that might be going down to the bottom, whether it's AJV and their team or Crypto Corey, or who knows. We'll see how it settles.
Yeah, absolutely. And there seems to be a bit of space now for JMO to make a run up, and it wouldn't be impossible for him to end up in first place if he can play the politics right, let's say. But with that whopping 27 million wool from the community events, that would put his team on a massive bar above in terms of their pouches, that way. So I have one sheep staked on his team. I'm glad I didn't go with AJ. I was kind of debating which one to go for, and I went for JMO because I was talking to him so much at the time. So it's certainly interesting. But yeah, well, I think we're going to try and follow it now for the next few weeks and kind of put down this history on the YouTube channel here. Um, so, anything else on Alpha Game before we move on?
No, I think it's been said, and we'll see how it settles. It's there's a lot of politics going on behind the scenes that none of the non-Alpha 8 players know about. So there's a lot of drama, there's a lot of politics, and it's exciting to see where it's all going to lead.
All comes out on the board, all right. Yeah, so if any viewers don't know, there's the site Wolf Game Live that's made by Scarly. For anybody in Wolf Game, it's a serious resource. Then from there, you can kind of find pretty much anything in Wolf Game, whether that's the world maps, Wolf Land, which is a very handy land tool, or the wolfgame.tools by Yaya, which is an excellent resource for searching for pouches and just kind of being able to look at what's hot, I suppose. Then the wool prices, and I like this little added bit where it shows what an ETH will get you and what 10k wool is and whatnot. So then underneath you can see what our floor prices are on the different items there. Farmers looking quite interesting. We have wolves up in the 9 ETH plus range, and sheep are back over a 1 ETH for a Gen 0. Land is coming in at a 420, structures at 2.3, and community at 7 Ethereum. Them community zeros. Oof. What do you make of them?
It's hard to say. I wish I had one. I don't. I don't think I could have gotten one even at reveal. I was looking at like structures more, but I think it's going to be just the alpha land to have. It's like, you've got certain pieces of each group that are going to be the best. You've got like big daddies. You've got, A8s, 8-7 wolves. That's going to be the C0 for land. I think it's hard to say that they're not going to be as valuable as they're priced right now. Even if their utility isn't as good as people think, they're still rare enough to give them a value and whatever the utility is. So I think they could be some sort of bridge between communities in a way with that tax and how it's going to be traded. It could be maybe a different resource. There's so many things. It's just hard to say. The way Shep delivers information is perfect because he doesn't want to give too much away where our expectations are going to fall, so that when full game comes out, we're going to be like, well, this isn't what Shep said. Like, we thought it was going to be this. He only gives us these tiny little puzzle pieces. So whether it's C0 or whether it's the entirety of full game, we have like 3 puzzle pieces out of like a 1,000-piece puzzle. And so what we're going to get, I expect we should be overjoyed no matter what we're going to be getting, because I feel like Shep has set it up that way. He doesn't want us to be disappointed, and so he just hasn't fed us enough information. He hasn't given us some grand trailer that's going to show us all these different things that's going to blow our mind. He's just kind of fed us a little bit, piece by piece, and then he's just going to let the full game, show its prowess and prove itself with what he delivers. That's what he did with Cave Game. With Cave Game, we didn't have a whole lot of information. I personally thought it was going to be more of like a staking game or, maybe a risky game, maybe 1 or 2 decisions. It was a game that you could play and you could move around. I had no idea it was going to be anything like that. I think it's going to be a very similar experience to C0 or full game. Pretty much everything is going to give us that same kind of like mind-blowing experience of I had no idea it was going to be like this.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it will be something that will constantly evolve. Whether that's new NFTs being brought into the ecosystem, just to shake things up, or seasons, weather manipulation and stuff. Something that had me thinking about that was epochs and the way epochs are used. That if there's a natural random generated epoch every month or every 8 days, whatever Shep sets it as, then there'll be the weather will change and randomly be generated per epoch within the ecosystem. Possibly, I don't know, but that would fucking blow my mind if it was
That's
something.
really interesting.
Yeah,
That's really interesting.
yeah. I was kind of thinking that there's some really cool things that can be implemented on chain that just from other stuff, and it got me thinking about epochs. So I'll be bringing that up on Spaces, I think. But yeah, I just brought up the Wolfgame tools here to give people a look. Um, uh, there's the wool chart, and then we just before we finish this show, I just want to go into the Wolfgame Reddit that's been set up by yourself, Fulmena, which is cool. And there's a great video there that's top of the list. Upvoted. It's fantastic. The introduction video made by Mike's Metaverse, is it Tom's Metaverse? Tom's Metaverse. Yeah. It's a very good video.
Yeah,
People
I
should
had
check
him
out.
create a Reddit just to post it because it's such a good video.
Yeah, excellent. No, it is. And go in, upvote it. If you haven't checked out the video, check that out. And fair play to you, Full Meta, for setting it up. Do you want to break down anything about it, or?
Yeah, I'll just say a couple things real quick. Basically, set it up here for two reasons. One, with the digital collectible trend that's kind of popping up for Reddit, with all the Twitter influencers talking about it, kind of put like Reddit in the spotlight. So I thought, what kind of exposure do we have on Reddit? So kind of searching around Wolf Game on Reddit, we didn't have a whole lot. There was like one or two posts from back in like November, and they weren't really relevant. It was nothing big. And so I thought, why not have at least a subreddit there? That way, if we having newcomers either on Reddit or looking for it on Google, this will help get that exposure. So now with having this subreddit and having our community builders being able to post there, it kind of puts a hub for community content as well as another forum, just like Discord. It allows potential Redditors to find Wolf Game, but it just kind of gives us that unlock. Like we're unlocking that space a little bit and have something there. So it's nothing huge. We just got like 60 members at this point, but it'll give us just another spot to place content, put speculation, put information, and help onboard new users.
Absolutely, I think it's brilliant. Just because it can spark different conversation to a Discord, because the conversation doesn't move as quick, and then the cream rises to the top. Yeah. But yeah, I think we'll wrap it up there, and I just want to urge everybody, let us hear some feedback in the comments. Because if you want longer, let us know. You want shorter, let us know. You want to cut stuff out, because we don't know if we're not told what people want to see and hear. But hope you enjoyed it. And good luck and good night. Thanks.